Ready for the show? I'm ready to start.
10, 9, ignition sequence starts. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. All engine running. Liftoff. We have a liftoff. 32 minutes past the hour. Liftoff on Apollo 11. Tower cleared. Roger.
First time on Earth, there is a technological intelligence reaching for the stars.
My fellow listeners, now I present to you E.T. First Contact Radio, starring our wonderful host, Martin Horst.
Yes, good evening, good morning, good afternoon, wherever you're listening from. This is Martin Horst speaking on E.T. First Contact Radio with my guest, Ray Hernandez from the Free Foundation. And he has been a guest before, and he is an amazing researcher and scientist who does amazing work. And it's a way to connect with people who are interested in extraterrestrial contact and to get all the people together who are doing research. So FREE is the abbreviation for the Foundation for Research of Extraterrestrial Encounters. And FREE is committed to bringing together diverse voices in the subject areas of human encounters with non-human intelligent and related phenomena. These interrelated subjects include alleged extraterrestrial encounters, contact with non-human intelligent entities from parallel worlds or other dimensions, plus associated manifestations that appear to violate known physical laws. FREE has been established to provide a working environment for scientists, lay investigators and first-hand experiences of non-human contact to enter into collaboration. We believe that by fostering an ongoing conversation between diverse parties, the significant advances can indeed take place. Interdisciplinary partnerships are vital for recognizing and addressing some of the most profound but often unacknowledged mysteries that confront human society today. As a research and educational think tank, FREE is designed to support information exchanges between those who explore alleged ET contact phenomena and associated manifestations. Those additional manifestations, frequently classified as paranormal, may fall well within the expanded framework of modern physics. We therefore also support the continuing exposition of new scientific models and theories that can be utilized to clarify and unify a wide range of observations and experiences. Because the academics in FREE firmly believe that all of the various contact modalities, ET contact, NDEs, out-of-body experiences, or OBEs, that's what it means, spirit world contact, channeling, shamanic journeys, mystical meditations, remote viewing, etc., are all interrelated under a new and undisclosed physics of consciousness, quite possibly Dr. Edgar Mitchell's version of the quantum hologram theory of consciousness in the future free will be initiating, well, and that's of course sadly to announce that we all know that Dr. Mitchell passed away, but he has contributed an enormous work for the Free Foundation and for humanity with his wonderful work that he did with us. So Ray, I really want to heartfully welcome you to the program. It's an honor to have you again, and we here will discuss the most important key initiatives and all the work that you do with the Free Foundation. So it's an honor to have you, and I want to welcome you back to the program.
Thank you very much, Martin.
Yes, Ray. Well, it's an unexpected pleasure that I received your email a couple of weeks ago, and I read it, and I said immediately, well, I have to do this again, because the first interview was quite successful. I don't know how many views there are on YouTube, but it was quite well received, and the comments were very positive. So now we are here with our second interview. So I want to ask you a little bit more to explain who you are, what the Free Foundation is. And of course, people know that it was co-founded by Dr. Edgar Mitchell, Rudy Shield, Mary Rodwell, who was also very important. I know Mary Rodwell myself. So please tell us a little bit more about the mission, the research and the education and the support, and what it contains, and what the future plans are. And
okay.
So please go ahead, my friend.
Thank you so much, Martin. It's an honor to be on your show again. First of all, before Dr. Edgar Mitchell passed away, we have a videotape interview where he authorized the board of directors of Free to have our organization named for his legacy. So now the organization is known as the Dr. Edgar Mitchell Foundation for Research into Extraterrestrial Encounters, Free. And our website, we just have a brand new website, which was launched last week, is experiencer.org. That's experiencer.org. And as you stated before, we have 4 co-founders of Free. The first one is Dr. Edgar Mitchell, who passed away 2 months ago. And Edgar needs no introduction. The second individual is Dr. Rudy Shields, who is our executive director of Free. And Rudy is a 75-year-old emeritus professor of astrophysics at Harvard University. And he was a very, very dear friend of Dr. John Mack, who's one of the pioneers that worked to investigate individuals that have had UFO-related ET contact experiences. And then the third person is also just as famous as the other two, Mary Rodwell from Australia. She has worked over, for the last 30 years, with over 3,000 experiencers of UFO-related contact experiences. And she really is a genius as well. And then myself, and I'm just a regular, normal person that's had experiences. So the 4 of us formed this organization. Now, one of the major projects that I want to spend most of my time here today is the first ever comprehensive research study, academic research study on individuals that have had UFO-related contact experiences. Now, the reason we're doing this study is because it's never been done before. We really know almost nothing about UFO-related contact. What we do have is thousands of books written by experiencers. We also have lots of writings that were anecdotal stories. People like Bud Hopkins, David Jacobs, even Mary Rodwell, her stories, Dr. John Mack. But these are not academic research studies. For example, Rudy Shields, who worked very, very closely with Dr. John Mack for many, many years, he told me that the most individuals that Dr. John Mack ever worked with was only 180 individuals. And even then, he never did any type of statistical studies or controlled type of research with these individuals, except interviewing them and then writing them up writing up two thematic books on their on what they've told them. Same thing with Bud Hawkins and David Jacobs. They conducted their studies based off hypnotic regressions, and that's just with people that came through their door. And I think even David Jacobs even said that I don't think he's has regressed more than 200 people. Now, Free is taking a totally different methodology. Our methodology was developed by 5 retired PhD professors. The person that was the lead, his name is Dr. John Climo. He's one of the world's leading academics on the paranormal. He's taught research methodology for over 40 years. The other person that's the co-chair of the research committee is Dr. Bob Davis, and he's also a retired professor of neuroscience, a professor of the brain. So these are not just anybody that's off the streets. The other main academic here is Dr. Leo Sprinkle. Dr. Leo Sprinkle is 85 years old, and he's the first professor that has ever wrote an article, an academic article, on experiences of UFO-related contact. And he first began researching experiencers as a professor in 1962. So that's just to get an idea of the people that are in this team. So what we're doing is we're doing both a quantitative research analysis, which is fixed choice questions like A, B, C, D, and E, or yes and no type of questions. We're also doing qualitative research, which is we're asking open-ended questions that allow experiencers to write and write and write details of according to 70 different answers. Our quantitative phase 1 and phase 2 studies comprised of 600 questions. We also have the study in multiple languages. We have it in English, we have it in Spanish, we have it in French, and soon in German. And we're looking for volunteers of people that are able to translate in other languages. So if any of your audience members have any additional languages, please contact us at our email, which is experiencer.co@gmail.com. You could also look for our email address at our website. Now, to get into the specifics of our study, we asked individuals to answer their questions based upon conscious memories, not upon hypnotic regression, not lucid dreams, not mystical meditation, not, out-of-body experiences, that sort of thing. And so that's what differentiates what we're doing from so many other studies, so many other publications that have been done in the past. For example, Bud Hopkins, everyone was hypnotically regressed. David Jacobs, everyone was hypnotically regressed. And that's how they got their information. So another thing is our study is completely anonymous. There's no fear to identify who you are. So it's completely anonymous. Now, for phase 1 in English, from now on, I'm just going to be talking about the English study languages. We've gotten, for phase 1, 2,200 individuals. For phase 2, we've got almost 1,300 individuals. And that's what I'm going to be talking our survey data right now with you. Just in a nutshell, the findings that we've got, Martin, are pretty much contrary what's circulating on the internet about experiencers. Okay? The total opposite on so many different aspects. And I could go into some of those with you. But in general, let me give a broad introduction to this topic. First of all, much of the internet information is circulating that these entities, or the vast majority of them, are negative. Okay? That specific races of entities are negative. That there's no connection between these entities and spirituality, that these entities have no role in transforming the experiencer. All of that are completely false. Okay, so do you want me to go into some of these specific findings with you?
Yeah, that will be a very good idea, because I'm very interested, and I think many other people are interested in those cases. So please go and be specific, my friend.
Okay, thank you very much. First of all, this is a study of people that have had both UFO-related contact experiences. That means they have either seen a UFO either before or after their experiences began, and they've had any type of contact with a non-human intelligence. We don't like to use the word ET because we don't know whether it's extraterrestrial, from another universe, or wherever the source is. Sometimes we throw the term ET out, but just for abbreviation. Okay, so that's our focus, and we also believe in our organization that that all of the different modalities of contact. That's where people are piercing the veil and having contact with non-human intelligence, that it's all interrelated, that it's not separate. For example, near-death experiences are very much interrelated to UFO contact, very much interrelated to out-of-body experiences, to mystical meditation, to channeling, to shamanic journeys. But yet, almost everyone is studying these modalities of contact separately. Free has 5 physicists. All of them are adherents of the quantum hologram theory of consciousness in physics. And all of them believe that all of these contact modalities are all interrelated under the quantum hologram theory of our multidimensional reality. So given that preface, let me go on with some specific information. First of all, we've had almost 1,500 people that have seen UFOs. 65% of these individuals have had witnesses. So it's not just one person seeing it, it's 65% of them have had witnesses to their experiences. Missing time. My wife was taken in front of me. For 45 minutes, she was gone. And she has missing time. She has no idea where she was gone for those 45 minutes. We asked that question. It was 55% of individuals have had missing time. We also asked questions of how many individuals have heard telepathic messages. Okay, well, we've had 1,148 people that have received telepathic messages. We asked individuals, do you believe that you possess information about advanced technology, advanced physics, or other scientific information that you've never read or learned before in your normal environment? And the reason we asked that is because many people have gotten downloads of advanced physics, advanced science, and other type of scientific information. Well, we've had 42% of the people who have taken our survey have said yes, that they have received that type of information. We ask questions about out-of-body experiences. Have you ever experienced an out-of-body experience? Well, we've had 1,364 people. 80% of the people that answered this question have had an out-of-body experience. Now, does that strike you as a little bit unusual, Martin, that you've never heard about before?
It doesn't strike me, but I believe that somehow I knew these percentages will be so high.
Yeah.
But it doesn't strike me because I'm into the field. But I believe that people who are listening to this, who are new to this, or scientists that should be getting involved because Free is a scientific organization, that they will be surprised by these numbers.
At that high number, we knew that many experiencers have had out-of-body experiences, but we never knew it was such high percentages. Let me go through some other questions. We asked a question about healing, whether you believe that you have been medically healed by these ETs. Well, what we got was almost 50% of experiencers have stated that they have had some type of medical healing by the ETs. Now, this is not something that's widely circulated. It's something that our researchers already knew, but we never knew with such high numbers. There was a book that was published over 20 years ago by Preston Dennett, D-E-N-N-E, I think is 1T. And he wrote a book titled UFO Healings. That book had 200 cases where individuals have been healed by the ETs. And he took that information from numerous books and numerous researchers that have been investigating UFOs and ETs. So it's not something that's never discussed. It has been discussed, but what happened, Martin, it gets completely ignored. But we're publicly stating it's 50% of people that took our survey have stated that either them or a member of their families have had a healing by these ETs. Have you ever heard of Reverend Michael Carter? He lives in the United States. He's African American. He's an experiencer. He's an ordained minister. He graduated from the New York Theological Seminary. He's gone out publicly and stated that the ETs have cured him of one leg that he was released from the hospital from a blood clot that was twice the size of the other leg. A Palladium being came into his living room, touched him, and he got unconscious. And then when he woke up later, his leg was normal. He said he could have run a marathon. Okay? But before, the leg was twice the size of the other, and he was in excruciating pain. Chris Bledsoe, another well-known experiencer from North Carolina in the United States, he's had a miraculous healing where he had been on disability. He was collecting a check every month because he had Crohn's disease, which is a very debilitating disease of the stomach. Okay, he was brought up to the craft for 7 hours. He was gone for 7 hours. When he was returned, completely healed from Crohn's disease. Okay, my family had a personal healing. Remember I told you that my wife was taken? She was also taken with our dog. We were going to be euthanizing our dog, putting her to sleep. They took my wife and they took the dog. When they were both returned, the dog was completely healed. As a matter of fact, she wasn't like a little 16-year-old dog anymore with severe arthritis and totally paralyzed. Now she was like a teenager running around with the energy of a teenager. So I could go on with numerous case studies of people that I know, that I've personally spoken with, that have documented cases, medical documented cases of these healings.
Yes, there are many known cases for healing occurring when people encounter ETs.
Correct. And now we've got the actual data, the actual proof, Martin. Before it was anecdotal. You would interview people. Now we've got real data, 50% of the experiences that took our survey. Also, another item that we found out when we asked the type of entities that are being seen, okay? The number one entity seen by 55% of experiencers, okay, is energy beings, okay? Energy being. That's what I saw in my living room. It was an energy being, 55%. Number two, the human-looking beings. And we're not just talking about blonde and blue eyes. We're talking about, all types of hairs, facial features, but basically humans, okay? That's 54%, okay? Next category is the short grays. The short grays is 51%, okay? Then comes the spirit form, like a ghost form, 47%. The tall grays were 32%, the insectoid 23%, reptilian 25%, and the small animal types 15%, the large animal type 13%. Now, let's talk about how these people perceive these beings. Okay? Oh, we asked them a question, have you interacted with these beings? 73% yes. They not only saw them, they interacted with them. Okay? Now, let's talk about how many times they interacted with them. We asked them from 1 time to more than 20 times. The vast majority, almost 40%, said more than 20 times. Okay? Between 11 to 20 times was another 6.5%. Between 8 to 10 times, another almost 8%. Okay, so if you're going to be seeing these beings, you're going to be seeing them more than once. Also, people do not see one type of being. They have seen more than one type of being. Okay, now let's talk about, we asked that question, whether these ETs are mainly positive, mainly negative, equally positive and negative, neutral, or I'm not sure. Okay, now let's start with the short grays. The short grays in much of the internet have this reputation of being horrible, terrible. Well, only 11.5% said they were mainly negative. That's it, 11.5%. Mainly positive was 29%, almost 3 times the amount. Okay, very important finding. Equally positive and negative was 16%, 0.6%. Neutral, 20%, I'm not sure, 23%. So 43% can be categorized in that neutral category. So mainly negative was only 11.5%. That's the short grays. The tall grays, mainly negative, was only 11%. Mainly positive was 31.4%. Let's go to the next type of being, the insectoid, the praying mantis type. 33% saw them as mainly positive. Mainly negative was 10%. Let's go to the next category, reptilian. Okay, if you go to the internet, you would think that 100% of these reptilians are evil. If you read all these David Icke stories that he's written about, you know, it seems like he's met over 1 million reptilians, okay? Which our results counter what's circulating on the internet. Mainly negative is 22.4%. Mainly positive was 17.5%. Equally positive and negative was 13%. Neutral was 16.4%. And I'm not sure was 30.5%. So the category of neutral, or I'm not sure, which is the category of, you know, the neutral type of experiences, is 47%. Almost 50%, 47%, right, have no commentary. It was just a neutral experience. Mainly negative was only 22.5%, Martin, okay?
It's a whole different number than the internet says.
Different number, correct, okay? So we also asked for the human type of being. The human type of being, 61% was positive. Mainly negative was only 5%, okay? Again, that's the number one type of entity seen by individuals. Now, let me go into the question of these experiences, whether they're, you know, positive, negative, neutral, these types of things. Okay, we asked that question in many different ways, and let me give you some of these result findings. While I get that. Some of that data. We asked them, if you could stop your ET contact experiences, would you? Okay. So if these experiences are so negative, you would expect 9% of the people say, yes, please stop them, right? The opposite took place. Okay. 84% of the people said, no, keep them coming. Only 16% said, stop these experiences. Okay, we asked the question, do you believe the ETs in general are bad, malevolent, evil? 9.4% said yes. The other folks, 818 people, 91% said no, they're not. They're not bad. They're not evil.
Well, that's of course very promising for the future, because I believe that when first contact happens, which I believe that will happen very soon, because the Earth and the human species that have been dwelling here for a long time, I think we are ready for contact now. Or
oh, most definitely.
Yes.
We're having contact now.
Yes, we have contact.
We're having contact. And let me tell you how this contact is changing people. Okay? Very, very important, Martin, which is not the BS that's circulating on the internet. Okay, we asked this question, and please, audience members, pay attention to this very important question. Did your ET contact experience change your life in a negative or a positive way? Okay, how did it change you as a person? Did it change you in a negative or a positive way? Okay, let me go by the most negative response. It changed you in a highly negative way. Only 4%. It changed you in a slightly negative way, 6.7%. So in other words, 11.7% said that it was a negative change. Okay? A small percent. Neutral, it didn't change you much. Well, that's 17%. Now again, I'm rounding off the numbers, okay? So it might not add to 100 because I'm rounding up. Now it changed you in a slightly positive way. It changed your life. Almost 22%. Now, here it is. It's highly positive change in your life. 50%, Martin.
You
Okay?
see?
So
Wonderful.
the positive changes were 72%.
That's wonderful, Ray. That's wonderful. That's very good news also for people that still have some fear or some doubts about ETs. Those are very promising results.
Yeah, well, it was, let me tell you how many people answered that question. It was, hold on one second, I'll get it for you. Almost 900. 897 people. That's a lot of people. This is not just the 10 books that people that walked through David Jacobs' door that he wrote that book about hybrids, okay? Okay. This is 897 people, a huge number of people that answered that question. We also asked the question somewhat differently, okay? Now, these are the people that have been abducted. What we found out was that only 1/3 of the people that have had ET contact have stated that they've been abducted. Okay? Now, some of it is that some people might not know that they've been taken. Okay? We don't like that use that word abducted, okay? Because it has all these negative connotations to it, okay? But basically only 1/3 of the people that have had ET contact have been relocated or taken to another place. Okay. Now, a good many of these people were consciously approved of. Okay. Some people have no recollection of these things, but let me ask this question from an abductee, from an abduction type of perspective. Okay. We asked, how would you categorize your last few ET encounter experiences? And again, by ET, we don't mean extraterrestrial, okay? We all types of non-human intelligence as associated with UFO contact. So how would you characterize your last few experiences? You know, what are your beliefs now about your experiences? So let me ask this question. It was a case of abduction, but abduction of the most negative kind. Well, that's 8% of the people that said that. Now, it was a case of abduction, but of a milder kind. A slightly more caring kind. That was 13%. It was still a case of abduction, but we're seeking permission, more humane, compassionate treatment. That was 8.5%. Now we get to the huge numbers now. You are not an abductee, but a contactee, where you're being treated with respect and understanding. 36%. It is a case of being a conscious contactee, but an egalitarian and equal relationship with the ETs. 34.4%. So when we add these two categories, the last two categories, that you are a contactee, okay, the percent is 71%. So 71% said that their abduction type of experience was an experience of a contactee. Okay, again, that's not what's circulating on the internet. And let me give you how many people answered this question. It was 631 people. Okay, and again, we asked it from an abduction type of perspective. Now, let me go into the questions in another general topic. Okay, and this is the topic associated with spirituality and spiritual issues. Okay. Okay, hold on a second while I pick that up. Now, is this some of this? I'm sure you kind of knew this because you speak to experiences all the time, right, Martin?
I do, yes. This is
okay.
This is highly well. I can say I can confirm those numbers by the people I've spoken to, approximately, of course, not precisely with 0.1 precision,
yes.
But I can tell you that in the case that the people I've spoken to, they have all. Well, I don't have a percentage, but 90%, 80%, 60% are positive experiences. From all the interviews I've done, I believe there are now 500 or 600 or more. That there was only one interview about negative reptilians with somebody, but the rest is all positive. All of
okay.
them.
Well, this message, what we have done is scientifically, academically confirmed your anecdotal stories of your interviews.
Yes.
And that's the problem, because we have many people like yourself that are on radio shows and radio guests that do interview many experiencers, but you know, you could say you have no idea how many percent view this experience, have had this experience or that experience. Now we can actually say with thousands of experiencers, based upon hundreds and hundreds of questions, how they've answered this.
Well,
so we can definitively state, you know, that these experiences are mainly positive, that they change the experiences profoundly, and that it's super complicated. Yes, Martin, you were going to say something.
Yeah, I feel very encouraged by this scientific research from the Free Foundation, that actually the people I've interviewed and their stories are now scientifically confirmed by your research. And there's now scientific evidence for all the people that have shared their wonderful, beautiful personal life stories, and they have also in most cases spiritually evolved
Yes.
capabilities of therapeutic communication or healing, or experience all types of positive changes that happen to their body and to their intellectual capacities, to their psychic abilities. So this
I'm going to go through all of those.
Yes, okay.
We've actually asked all those questions, Martin.
Please go ahead.
So yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Now this is I'm very happy with this. This is confirming my work for 6 years now, that I'm broadcasting with ET First Contact Radio, which is my baby. I will continue to do this for the rest. I don't know how many years, but I'm very encouraged and very positive and very determined to do my radio show, and I love to do this because wonderful people come on this show, like yourself, Ray, with a scientific background, with a spiritual background, with an ET contactee experience, and this is confirming that what I'm doing is right, and
Correct.
I'm very happy with this. But please go ahead, my friend. Please go ahead.
Okay. Yeah.
And share more.
Correct.
Share more numbers.
Sure. I'm sure that many of your audience members and many of the people that you've had on your show have had an out-of-body experience. But until our research, no one ever knew what percentage of UFO-related contact experiencers have had out-of-body experiences. Okay? Until now. We asked in our phase 1 survey, how many people have had out-of-body experiences? It was 80%. Okay, so we asked that question for phase 2. Phase 2 are now the more heavy-duty experiencers, the people who have had, you know, the very, very profound types of experiences, which, as I told you, was about 1,200 people. Well, out of this question, it was 1,046 that answered this question, and it was 819 have had out-of-body experiences, which is a huge number. Okay, we asked the question, have you ever met an ET during an out-of-body experience? Okay? Again, these are not typical questions that you ask, okay? But we asked it. Have you ever met an ET during an out-of-body experience? Well, we had 44% of the people that said yes. 44%. We also asked the question, have you ever had a near-death experience? Very important, Martin. Very important. Have you had a near-death experience? 36% of the people said yes. And then repeat that. 36% of the experiencers had a near-death experience. That's a huge number. And near-death experiences, you're not playing games here. I mean, these are profound experiences. Okay? And again, it's related to UFO contact. Okay? Because the public at large, not 36% have had NDEs, but why such a huge, gigantic number for the people that have had UFO contact? Okay? Now, we've also asked that question, have you ever had a past life memory? For example, memory of your consciousness in a previous life. 65% said yes. Okay. Do you have memories of visiting or receiving a glimpse of heaven, or what can be called the spirit world? 44% said yes. Do you believe that any of the ETs have performed a medical healing on either you or another member of your family? 49% said yes. Okay. That's 462 people had a medical healing by the ETs. If they're so bad, then why are they healing all these humans? 462 of them, half of the members that took the phase 2 survey. That answered that question, I should say. Have you ever seen an ET dressed in a monk's robe? And if so, what color was that robe? My wife saw 3 Palladian types of ETs floated in front of her, dressed in a white monk's robe. Just that's why I asked that question, okay? Well, we had 298 people, almost 300 people that said yes. They have seen ETs dressed in a monk's robe. And the white color was 99, brown color was 108, and other types of color was 132. Do you feel a sense of expanded consciousness in the presence of these ETs? 71% said yes. Do you believe that you and an ET have ever reached an agreement? Okay, have you as a human ever reached an agreement with an ET? 45% said yes. Okay, if there is some type of an agreement, was it an agreement for you to be taken on board a craft? Well, 30% said yes. 182 people said yes, we had an agreement. And one of those agreements was to be taken on a craft. 182, that's not a small number. Do you believe that there is a connection between the ETs and the paranormal? 89% said yes. Do you believe that there is a connection between the ETs and the spirit world? Or life after death, heaven? Okay? Look at this number, Martin. 83% said yes. That they believe that there is a connection between the ETs and the spirit world, life after death. Now, what do you have to say about that?
I'm not surprised. It's what I always believed and knew, but now we have statistic evidence of this.
Okay, 83%. So when you're telling folks these stories, you know, and talking about it, say, well, the Free Organization conducted an academic statistical study, and they had 83%, or 779 people that said, yes, the ETs are somehow related, connected to the spirit world.
That's beautiful. It's beautiful that this is confirmed scientifically, Ray.
Okay, let me continue with some of these questions in this capacity. Do you believe that there is a connection between ETs and reincarnation? Okay, 76% said yes. Okay, anyway, did the ETs ever tell you, ever communicate to you that there is life after physical death? Okay, did the ETs ever tell you this? 225 people, or 30% of that answered this question said yes. Okay, that's a lot of people. That's saying that, you know, I had communications with the ETs. They told me that there is life after death. Okay, that's huge. Okay, did the ETs ever provide you with a spiritual message? 54% said yes. I mean, we have all these questions, Martin, on and on and on. I don't want to go into all these details, but that gives you an idea of how profound our study was, and how profound was our message. Let me just give you one before I close this section on spirituality. Did the ETs give you any message about God or a creator? 33.5% said yes. 1 out of the 3 people said yes, the ETs did give them a message about God or a creator. Now, isn't that, you know, overwhelming? Okay. Now, let me go into this other topic. Overall, all these findings in and of itself that I've been going over, these are just a small group of the findings. But there have been numerous other type of findings which we just don't have the time to go into. But if all of our members, board members, would pick out one area that is the most important topic area, Martin, is this what I'm going to tell you now. Okay, and let me give you a little background. Okay, there is this professor of psychology. He's now retired. He's one of the two leading academic professors on near-death experiences. Okay, his name is Dr. Kenneth Ring. Anyone could look him up in the internet. Dr. Kenneth Ring, R-I-N-G. Himself and probably Dr. Bruce Grayson, who's a medical doctor out of the University of Virginia, they're probably the top 2 academics that have researched near-death experiences over the last 30 years. Okay, 20 years ago, Dr. Kenneth Ring published a book out of many books that he's published, where it was a statistical study, where he did a statistical study where he compared 150 individuals that had near-death experiences with 150 people that have had UFO-related contact experiences, mainly abductions. Okay, and what he focused on was how these people changed. How were they before their experiences and how they are now? Okay, and what he concluded, and this is one of the very few statistical studies on UFO-related contact experiences, one of the few. Okay, but yet this is just focused on how people changed. That was the only focus on his study, one of the few areas of his study. And what he concluded was both of these groups, they changed into the same person. So in other words, if you had a near-death experience and if you had UFO-related contact, you changed to the same personality type. Okay? And let me go over some of these things. In general, what he concluded was that these people changed for the better. It was 85% of these individuals changed positively. Not negatively, positively for the better. Okay? Now, let me go over some of these questions and you can see what I'm going about. What we did is we copied 100 of his questions from that academic study. The book, if people want to order it, the name of Dr. Kenneth Ring's book is titled The Omega Project. The Omega Project. You could get it from Amazon books. And they have used books, so you could order it from there. The Omega Project. And so we asked the same questions. And let me go over some of these questions. My desire to help others, and these are the answer choices for all of these questions, has increased strongly, has increased somewhat, has not changed, has decreased somewhat, or has strongly decreased. Okay? Now, what I'm going to give you is just the last two categories of, the first two categories, increase strongly and increase somewhat. Okay? So let me ask that question. My desire to help others has increased strongly, 50%. Increased somewhat, 23%. So now we get 73% has increased, okay, either strongly or somewhat, their ability to help others. Now, isn't that changing someone in a positive way? Okay. Now, let me go through these other categories fairly quickly. My compassion for others. Okay. 54% increased strongly, 24% increased somewhat. My compassion to help others. My appreciation for the ordinary things in life, for the simple things in life, the ordinary things in life. 51% increased strongly. Increased somewhat, 22%. My ability to listen patiently to others. 38% increased strongly, almost 30% increased somewhat. My feelings of self-worth, again, the same numbers, almost 65%. My interest in psychic phenomenon, 58% strongly increased, 21% increased somewhat. My ability to love others in an impersonal way, okay, the ability to love others, increased strongly, 42%, increased somewhat, 30%. Okay? My concern for material things. Okay? Do you care about money and material things? Well, let me give you the opposite, that it's decreased. Strongly decreased, 35%. Somewhat decreased, 31%. So right there, 66%. The ability to wanting material things has significantly decreased. Okay? Strongly increased was only 2%. And increased somewhat was only 3%. Okay? So that's the material things. My tolerance for others. Let me continue. My sensitivity to suffering of other people. My interest in ecology and the welfare of our planet. Now, here's an interesting question. My concern with spiritual matters, okay, increased by 78%. No change is 17%. Decrease is only 3%. So these people have had an increase in their concern with spiritual matters. Like in my case, I was a total atheist before my experiences. Now I'm deeply spiritual. And I'm just an example of the changes that these people are going through. And your interest in organized religion, okay? Again, totally decreased. It's like 65% all of a sudden have had a total decrease in organized religion. Why? Because they become more spiritual. Okay? The ability to understand myself, okay, of who I am, 50% strongly increased. Increased somewhat, 35%. So we got 85% of the people are now have a better understanding of who they are, who they truly are. My desire to achieve a higher level of consciousness. Again, same thing. It's 80% have had an increase, a significant increase. And so you get the idea here. These are 100 questions that talk about personality changes, okay? And all of these 100 questions, people have asked, you know, of these tremendous changes in their personality. Now, how do you explain that? If these ETs are so horrible and so terrible, if they're so horrible and so terrible, then why are they changing us to become better human beings? So that is the type of category of findings that if we were to pick one category that we would say is the most important of all our findings, that these ETs are actually changing humanity little by little, at least the people that they've touched. So my hope and my prayer is touch everyone, okay? Like that we might be able to end war, end violence, end the destruction of our planet, okay? Touch us all.
We are all connected. All life in the universe wants to procreate and wants to connect to other life forms. And peace is the way. Peace and love and unconditional love and being connected is the way, Ray. And that's what those beautiful ETs are teaching us.
Correct.
I see them as our teachers.
Oh, yes, they're doing it. They're doing it.
Yes.
Martin, they're doing it. And let me give you an interesting point.
Sure.
The number one comment that both people of near-death experiences state is that when they return from a near-death experience, what's the number one word that they come back with? LOVE. Okay? The people that have had the most profound ET contact experiences, again, not all of them, because there's some group of people, about approximately 50%, that view their experiences as negative, okay? But the vast majority of people, they come back with the word love with these ETs. How would you describe these ETs? Love, okay? And so what we're going to be doing later on in our research study in phase 3 and in our interviews is find out why they answered the way they did. For example, if they've had a negative experience, why was it a negative experience? Now, we did ask questions about abductions. We asked questions about a breeding program, an alien breeding program, and we did find that there were approximately 330 people that do believe that they have participated in an alien breeding program. Okay? We asked implants. We asked, there was about, again, another about 340 people that believe that they have implants. But when we asked them, has it ever been detected through an X-ray or MRI or that sort of thing, then it goes down to like, around 50 people, small, very small number. But there are a lot of people that do believe that they have participated in an alien breeding program. And most of the people in our organization do believe that that is taking place. So we don't want to, hide these things. It's out there in the open. But we want to understand the whys, of why these things are occurring, why people are seeing things from a certain perspective, why they see it as positive, why they see it as negative. And then that's coming in phase 3 and phase 4.
And what do the phases include, phase 3 and 4? Can you describe them?
Yes, phase one and phase two, all this data that I've been speaking about, these are responses to 600 questions that are quantitative in nature. They're a fixed choice. It's either, strongly increased, strongly decreased. You have a choice of like 5 choices, or yes or no. Okay. For phase three, these are open-ended questions. For example, we would state if you have had a contact experience with a gray, okay, can you state the details of that experience? Okay. We've also stated your experiences with these entities. Would you consider them being, positive, negative, neutral, whatever? And if so, please give us the reasons why. So it allows them to write out the details.
Yeah,
now, some people responded in a paragraph. Other people have written for one question many, many pages.
Yeah. So these are open questions.
Open-ended questions, correct. That's for phase three. Now, phase four is the actual one-on-one interview, where we're going to be, everyone is going to be anonymous. Because I said before, we don't care about your name or any of your personal information. So the person that's being interviewed is going to be anonymous, and the person that's interviewing you is going to be anonymous. It'll be tape recorded, and we're not going to be asking any personal identification information in there to make you feel comfortable that we're not going to be able to identify you. And that's where we asked, the very, very specific questions, why they answered these questions a certain way. And as I said before, no one has ever undertaken this type of comprehensive study before. Now, yes.
Yeah, for sure not as comprehensive and as complete, I must say.
Yeah, no, there have been very, very few studies before only on abductions. But again, our focus is not on abductions. It's all types of contact, abductions and non-abductions. Also, most of these small samples that focused on abductions only had 50 people taking these samples. Okay, these 50 people were people that were not anonymous. It was someone that would call David Jacobs or Bob Hopkins or Dr. John Mack and say, do you have someone that you think might want to take a survey? And he would give them their telephone number or call them, see if they wanted to, and then give them their telephone number. That's how these things were. Also, hypnotic regression was allowed in all of these experiences. And also the questions, the maximum amount out of majority of these studies were only 50 questions. So these are little tiny, tiny baby studies. And again, with numerous problems because they just focused on abductions and how these people were communicated and contacted. You already went to the people that had these experiences through Bud Hopkins and David Jacobs, who perceived these experiences as negative. So it was already polluted, the sample pool. Now, Martin, can I, the last part, talk about some of the experiencer support projects that Free is undertaking?
For sure, Ray. Please go ahead, my friend.
Okay, thank you. Free also has programs to support experiencers. For example, in my case, and my wife's case, and my daughter's case, we've all had contact experiences. They have been very, very positive. However, I was severely impacted by it because the reality crush, it's like your total mindset gets blown up like an atom bomb in your brain. And so I was traumatized because of that. Not because the experience was negative, but because I was just blown away that these things are real. It's not just something that you see on TV. And so for a long time, I had no one to talk to. Free has a program called the Peer-to-Peer Support Program, where we have volunteers, 40 volunteers, that can talk to you, support you, to guide you. And we can give you 3 or 4 different people to talk to if you want to. So once again, go to our website, check our website, review the support programs. Another program that we're doing is we have a therapist support list where we have put down 200 individuals that provide support for experiencers. And there's different categories. One is licensed therapists. So these are people that have license from their state or their government, like a psychologist or a psychiatrist, to work doing therapy. And the people on that list are only people that have previously worked with experiencers, not just someone off the street. So someone must have had experience to do that. The other category is support groups. There are many support groups all throughout the world, and we've gotten most of them on our therapist support list. If anyone goes through that list, and again, that list is contained in our website, experiencer.org, and you go to the submenu titled Support, you will see the therapist support list. So if you are a therapist and you're not on that list and want to get on our list, send us an email. And once again, our email is experiencer.co@gmail.com. Also, we have, over the last 18 months, we have assisted over 350 individuals to put them in contact with another buddy so they could talk to. We also are organizing many of the major support organizations around the world so they can start working under one umbrella and start learning about what each other is doing and try to do joint projects. And let me tell you about some of these projects. We are going to be establishing something called an Experiencer Liberation Day, which is a day where experiencers can come out of the closet in unification, in unified force, just like Earth Day, okay, or Gay and Lesbian, Day. It's a way where you can go out and publicly state to the world that you're an experiencer. We want to be able to do this at a local level, and we're going to be having abilities for people to be able to organize at a local level to conduct these events. Okay, we're also going to be beginning an experiencer conference, which is a worldwide experiencer conference translated into many, many languages. We want to be conducting this via live webinar. And this is not going to be a ufology conference where you go to one of these UFO conferences and you might have one speaker that's an experiencer, This is going to be focused on the experiencer. So these are some of the support projects. We're also going to be having out of the closet videos that we're going to be putting on our website. And out of the closet video is like a 5-minute video that will have a picture of someone's face. For example, you will have my face together with, let's say, 1,000 other pictures, okay? You click on that picture and you'll hear something like this. Hello, my name is Ray Hernandez. I'm an estate tax attorney in Miami, Florida. And I am an experiencer together with the rest of my family. Let me tell you a little bit about my experiences. The reason I'm doing this is because I believe that it's very, very important for people to come out of the closet and tell the entire world that you will not be having any more fear. You will not be facing any more ridicule, because the world needs to know that these experiences are very, very real. Now, let me tell you about my experiences. So it'll be something like that. These are called out of the closet videos. And we hope, and we will have hundreds and hundreds, if not thousands, of people posting these out of the closet videos. Now, again, these are for the people that are bold, the people that are assertive, the people that are out in the public, talking about the experiences. And what we want to be able to do is to encourage others to come out of the closet, to not be in fear and hiding anymore, but to publicly let the world know that these experiences are very, very real. So these are just a few of the support projects that we're doing in Free. We also have a mission of education. We have 3 missions: research, support, and education. And for education, we have numerous articles written by many physicists associated with Free on the topic of the science and physics of contact. We have numerous articles on the quantum hologram theory of physics and consciousness. We have numerous articles on the contact modalities, which attempt to show that all of these modalities of contact are not separate, but are indeed interrelated. And Dr. Rudy Shield wrote the key article for that. The title of his article is called "The Modern Miracles." We also are wanting to establish a documentary titled "The Physics of Contact with Non-Human Intelligence." And this is going to be a documentary, again, very academic, very science and physics oriented, where we're going to be getting approximately 10 physicists to explain in simple layman language all of the experiences that people are going through. For example, in my case, I had an energy being that appeared in my living room. Now, how did it get through a wall? Okay, so for example, we'll ask that question to our physicists. For example, Michio Kaku is very well known, and Michio Kaku will say, well, Ray, there is this concept called teleportation. And we're actually doing that now with photons. We're getting them, just like in the movie Star Trek, to dematerialize and rematerialize in another location instantaneously. So this is not just science fiction anymore. This is real science. And this is a possible explanation of how your energy being could have entered your living room. So these are just an example of our documentary of how real life hardcore quantum physics and other advanced physics can begin to explain the experiencer contact phenomenon. And we have the detail of that documentary. We have a 20-page write-up about it in our website, experiencer.org.
Wonderful, Ray. Well, I must say that you were very bright in this interview and that you have shared very important knowledge. I'm very encouraged and very happy with the statistics that you have given and the 4 phases of questions that you asked that people can answer. And of course the scientific and the support section of free. And I believe that you have an appointment, and I...
Well, but before, if I could make one last commentary, Martin.
For sure.
That is all of what we discussed today. All of the 600 questions from phase 1 and phase 2 are open to the public. Yes. Anyone out there can review them.
Yes.
Okay? We made it free for everyone, available for everyone. And if you would go to our website, once again, experiencer.org, if you would click on the menu that says research, experiencer research, there we would have grouped in thematic categories all of our research data, and we have it in pie charts, so it's nice and visual and easy to review and to check out. Okay?
It's all out there on the website. People can review
Correct.
The data. Yes.
And they could also take our survey, our phase 1 survey. We have a link on our website to take our phase 1 survey. Also, we have a link there for you to become a volunteer. If you would click on that link, it would also bring you to the SurveyMonkey software, and it would ask you like maybe 15 questions of what area you want to volunteer in. Do you want to volunteer with the research study, with the support? Do you want to be an experiencer buddy? Do you want to upload videos to free? We're going to be establishing a chat room. Do you want to work with the chat room? Et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So please check out our website, experiencer.org. And again, it's no one is doing what we're doing. We're doing it from a scientific, grounded basis, based upon the various retired professors that are part of free. And again, it was co-founded by Dr. Edgar Mitchell, Dr. Rudy Seals, astrophysicist from Harvard, and Mary Rodwell. So these are the cream of the crop. So please go and check us out.
Yes, and Ray, I must say that since the start of free, I think 2 or 3 years ago, since the start of the project, it has now grown into a professional organization with a wide area of very credible people that are involved. And I want to thank you for being here. And whenever you want to come back with more news, I will be pleased to conduct an interview with you. And I am sure that with this interview and this information, many people can be informed and will be very happy with those results, Ray. So I want to wish you all best of luck, and I hope to stay in contact with you. And if there's anything I can do, maybe I can find some people who can translate in some languages.
Oh, yes. Yes, that we have a great need for that, Martin, because a lot of people in Europe don't speak English. You know, a lot do. But yes. If we could get translated into the many languages in Europe, and also people that know, Russian or Chinese or other Hindi, Mandarin or Hindi language, it would be a great benefit to humanity. So, if you could push that.
Yes, I will look around a bit. I have people from all over the world connected to me, So I will let you know soon what I can do for you.
Thank you so much, Martin. It was a pleasure. Thank you
Yes.
so much.
Bless you, my friend, and all the best, and let's speak soon, okay?
Most definitely, Martin. Thank you so
All
very
right.
much.
All my friends from all over the world, thank you for listening to Ray Hernandez, one of the founders of the Free organization, and the website is experiencer.org. Yes. Thank you, Ray, and all the best.
Thank you, Martin. Good night.
Take care, my friend.